Now welcome back to the channel. Now as Vybz Kartel's attorneys seek to have him and co-defendants released by May 29th, statements that Cliff Hughes made during an interview with the DPP seems to be bringing the new intentions of the new DPP to light. Seeing that what was exposed with what took place in the Vybz Kartel trials and statements made by the then DPP herself, is the new DPP working on rebuilding the reputation of the office of the DPP? Let me continue what I want and they will continue the reason. Look and listen.
Quite an interesting 5 minutes of exchanges there. And the takeaway for me is the DPP seems to be relying on the fact that in her long prosecutorial career, she has made a judgment call, several judgment calls, in a number of instances of jury tampering. And I wonder, does that make it legally correct? It might be a call that has been wrong. Because surely, based on what we now have from the Privy Council, jury misconduct undermines the fundamental principle of the justice system of the accused being entitled to a fair trial. And the fact that you have been doing it several occasions before does not make it right. Those who have been in such matters, do they have cause, reason to wonder at minimum? It is, Madam DPP, quite a space we are in.
Issues that we cannot go into the public domain, and what our information from the foreman was, what she was saying, was that all of the attempts had to do with acquittal. Acquittal. Clearly, if it had been the other way, we would have, clearly, given the overriding objective of any case, which is fairness to the accused. But what would have been perhaps planted in the mind of the jurors is, okay, you need to acquit. And remember that these persons, at least two of them, are very famous. So it would have been, as far as the prosecution, when we discussed it, we would have been at those ones at a great disadvantage. This is not the first time.
But with the greatest respect, DPP, that's not persuasive, because what I want you to focus on is the fact that the process now had been corrupted and contaminated, and you advised the judge that you were comfortable proceeding with a contaminated and corrupt process.
This is not the first time that I have had to deal with jury tampering.
And be that as it may, in the exercise of your judgment, why did you not see it fit to bring to an end a matter that had been corrupted?
After 64 days of trial?
Isn't the interest of protecting the impartial trial greater than the length of time that had elapsed?
I agree with you on paper, but I have done other cases where there has been jury tampering to the great negative of the prosecution. I have seen cases, I've seen jury inquiries where the juror, having been questioned, it was quite clear that it was either an accused person or an accused person's relative that approached the juror. And the juror was able to indicate to the court that it did not make any difference. He would still be able to have an impartial situation in his mind. I have had the experience. I've prosecuted many cases. And when asked, I have indicated that we don't have any problem. So in other words, we are prepared to take our chances and just try to make sure that you have a very powerful address. But this what happened in a couple of the cases I've dealt with didn't happen during summation. It happened before we got to summation. So I have had the experience before of jury tampering. And I have been asked before, what is my view, being the prosecutor in the matter? And even after the inquiry, it's a judgment. It's quite clear that you don't know if the juror is telling you everything about the encounter with the relative of the accused, but you are willing to take the chance nonetheless. So it has happened. I mean, both myself and Mr. Taylor, who was the prosecutor, we didn't drop from the sky. It's not the first case that we are both having to deal with. And in our experience, we have had to deal with cases where you have issues arising.
With the benefit of hindsight, do you regret the submissions you made?
You are not going to get me there. You are not going to get me.
Well,
no, maybe one of the ways to do this is to not put charges against Vybz Kartel, or with no charges against him. He would then be granted this habeas corpus. Seeing that he's behind the bars with no conviction and no charges against him. Now, I want to know if it was impossible for the prosecution to bring charges against him until a decision was made by the Court of Appeal. We don't know if that's a legal technicality. Because it might be a scenario where them can't bring any charges against him until the appeal court sorts out that situation. And if that is the case, then they will be unable to stop this new writ that was filed by his defense attorneys. And Vybz Kartel would then be released on May 29. Now, in truth and in fact, though, that would not stop the decision from the appeal court. The appeal court decision is being made by them. That whoever will be on that 3-judge tribunal, them are going to decide whether or not a retrial. And the case to have him released is being heard by a different judge. Now, also, here some people are saying the old evidence that was used against Vybz Kartel cannot be used. Nothing so. Meaning, say, that statement being made by those people, I don't necessarily think it's true. Because if the then DPP wanted a retrial, and she never said she had the new evidence at the time, it sounds like should I rely upon the same case? The Privy Council made no ruling about the evidence itself. But people like to talk. You have a whole heap of liars in the comment section with no degree. So, maybe them know more than me on this particular matter. And they must say it can't use. We don't know. Tell me what you think in the comment section about that. Will says the key piece of evidence that was used, and somebody also challenged upon this one and say the evidence used was witness statement. No. Read over the article. The appeal court upheld the conviction based on cell phone evidence. That's why when the case was being prepared for the Privy Council, they had an expert from overseas look through that particular evidence. But a lot of people just like to talk without actually any recollection of what took place, any article to prove for them and say, or just any knowledge on the situation overall. But people like to talk. So for those nothing to know, that was what the appeal court used for uphold the initial conviction. That's why the case was brought to the Privy Council. They can type it up. That public information and not secret information. And now some people know it's not a thing where you have to go around this stuff to hear it. You can type it up on Google and the information will be presented to you. Overall though, based on what the attorney say, based on what it look now, it seems like there will be no retrial. It also seems as if until the whole situation is heard by the appeal court, Vybz Kartel will be released and be leaving from his home to the court to hear the decision based on how we see it look at the moment. If there are no charges brought against him and other co-defendants at the moment, Because at this point, since lawyers are point out that there are no charges or convictions, they are not even accused. But they even have co-defendants at the moment. Well, them have a case with them go here. So, I don't know, maybe they are defendants in that. Defended and no retrial. But at the moment, they are not accused. And that's what the attorneys are point out. Say, be not convicted, not confused, or not accused. They should be released. Talk to me in the comment section. Tell me what you think. If you're new to the channel and just pass through, we'll click the subscribe icon and then the bell icon. And of course, put it on all. And this is how you know we'll be notified of all fresh content as soon as fresh content is uploaded and made available for you right here upon the platform. The like icon is also in close proximity to the share icon. Drop a like and bust a share and tell a friend to tell a friend to tell them sister and them brother them for check out the channel, check out the reasoning, and also join the discussion. The comment section open 24/7. It never lack it. Just be respectful and mindful of the guidelines. But other than that, drop your thoughts, your comments, and yes, your opinions there. Or we can continue the reasoning via the comment section. Now to the reason again, my sentiments for you and yours, if you want to live, love, and prosper, and if you want to stay tuned.